Yeah, thank you so much for reaching out, loving on us, and just telling us what's happening in your relationships and your marriages. We believe this is a community, even when we are not, we have not yet created a community as community, a standalone community for marriages. But I believe the conversations that we have here, the comments that you give us, when you find us, the kind of interaction that we usually have, it makes us feel like we have this warmth in a family or amidst people that want to grow, they want to become better. That is the kind of vibe you are giving to us, and that is encouraging us. That is why we are here every day
Yes,
to talk about this.
And congratulations to everyone who's celebrating either their 5th, their 10th,
their
20th anniversary. Congratulations on staying married.
Even their first.
Yeah,
even
congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And marriage and marriages are different. But every milestone is worth celebrating.
Yeah.
And from your first car, your first house, your children. When you have an opportunity to celebrate, celebrate. When you have an opportunity to love on your partner, love on them. I mean, we are here, we're not here tomorrow. You can never know.
You can never know.
And so there's a song I listened to where this guy was saying, I wish I knew. I would have loved you. I would have showed you I loved you. But now it's late that you're not here. So to every relationship, to every couple, to every marriage, if you must say it, don't procrastinate on saying it. I mean, look them into the eye and tell them, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the people
you never know what that does to them.
That's true. That's true. And you can never know anyway. Life is short. And no one is promised tomorrow. And so you have today. And so if you can be able to maximize that, if you can be able to play out to the fullest, okay? Because, I mean, you're not promised tomorrow. So let's think about that even as we talk about the marriages. We've been talking about, the last episode we talked about the things that women do unintentionally or unexpectedly to sabotage their relationships and their marriages. And we are continuing with the same, going on to the more subtle things that don't really seem that harmful. But again, when you look at the lenses of what has broken marriages, just like we usually say that relationships don't die a natural death. No, there is no natural death. It comes out of neglect. It comes out of abandonment. It comes out of the erosion, slow erosion. And how does this erosion set in? I know that we will talk about on the side of men, but on the side of women, I think some of us have not looked at the reciprocating the feelings and the doings of what a relationship and a marriage must carry. I'll give an example. I've met so many men that say, you know what, I have been pushing this relationship, I've been calling her, I've been taking her on dates, I've been doing all these things, and on the other side, I feel like it's a cold shoulder. I feel like, yes, she comes for the dates, yes, she, when I call, she picks, but I don't feel like there's any kind of a push the other side. I don't feel like there's a kind of interest.
One-sided.
And believe me, I'm a woman. I know that when a woman loves a man, when a woman is in love, like you just have to tell yourself, you know what, let me not send a message, let me not do this, let me not overdo this, because by creation, as women, we are created to overdo because we are naturals. So when you get into a relationship, that is where you start fighting. You're like, no, I will not send these messages, you know, I will not overcall, I will not, so you are fighting. But if there is no action, that means one of the two things is actually real. Either you are traumatized from your former relationships and you have your barricades up and you're highly guarded, or you actually don't love him the same way.
Yeah, it's a communication. It's a very consistent and intentional communication. Women do not lie about who they are and what they feel. It's because that's who they are. It's just like if I was talking to a man and he said, I was told by this girl on our first date or our first dates that she's not interested. I'm like, she means it.
Yeah, walk away.
She means it. If you do not read it the right way, you'll be used. Because women have the ability to disguise, pretend, and seem to be with
conceal
you,
the truth.
you know, but while they are looking. So you become an option. You are in a relationship fully in there as a man. Alone. Because with her, it's about how much money you can give her, the rent, the car, everything. But she's waiting for the right, for the right man to come.
The one that she loves.
The one that she loves. When that man comes, even if he cannot do 20% of what you're doing, she will go. So when she's respectful enough to say, I'm not interested, don't waste your time. Be mature enough to deal with
and she will say it in so many ways.
To deal with your feelings and your the rejection and everything, and walk away. But again, on the flip side, when you were starting, where someone consistently sends a signal. You know, there's something about these killer diseases. Killer diseases do not pounce on you. You can have signs for 15 years. But when they are eating you away, slowly, one bit at a time, slowly, until they finish you. It's from a consistent headache to something, to something, to something.
Immunity that is slowed down.
Everything, but you know, those are the killer diseases. They're eating you away consistently until they finish you. Some relationships are designed that way.
They're like killer diseases. Oh no.
You don't want to wake up in your 40s only to realize,
I've been with someone.
The mother of my 2 or 3 children, as I said, women do not lie. Their actions speak louder. When they love you,
they will love you.
They will love you. When they are not, and they don't need to take a year, Smani 1 month. Smani these things we used to lie to ourselves. That how man is no is a yes. How man is yes is a no. Smani because those are lies.
They know from the word go.
They are only pretending and buying time. Word being buying time. But they know from the word go that they're not interested in
that their heart is not here. So you see, that breaks, it kills. The moment there is no, and then there is this thing that usually happens whenever, if it's a relationship, for example, a man pulls out or pulls back and is no longer engaging, and then the woman is saying, he was a crook. But if you sat them down and asked them, did you, as they were calling, were you calling? As they were showing interest, were you showing interest? They're like, but they had to show the interest. No, it's not cut out like that. You're supposed to show interest as much as, you know, when someone takes you on a date and when you get home and you call them, you're like, okay, that was a really nice date and stuff like that. You are showing them that, by the way, we are on the same page about this. And when you call them another time and you're like, okay, you're initiating seeing them. Can I see you? Where are you? Then they're like, they also want to feel needed.
And this thing about, okay, there are certain things that have been re-echoed. And over time, we've believed that that's how they are supposed to be. But the narrative has been changing, and for a very long time. For you to assume that I have to be given.
Play hard to get.
I have, as in
the receiving end all the time. No.
It's changed. There's nothing wrong with you contributing to a bill. There's nothing wrong with you as a woman
gifting,
buying your husband a gift. Who says that if you buy him a gift,
that you're going to die?
For God's sake, you're working.
I know.
You make some money. So there are certain things that break us as men, and it's from the point of, I've been giving to this marriage from the time I started dating my wife, when she was still my girlfriend, when now we started officially
dating.
You understand, to the time of the introduction, to the time of the wedding, I've been giving and giving and giving. I have never received anything. I don't have anything in my memory of even a tie as a gift from my wife. I don't even have a memory of socks.
I know.
I don't have a memory of katambala.
As in the
or even a
cheapest,
shirt.
The cheapest.
I don't have a memory. And there's some men who will tell you that I don't have any. So who told you that you
That's
can't?
supposed to be one-sided.
You know, if you can go to work, and you're going to tell me, I know that some women at the back, the other back, they're saying that I've given you children. I've been giving you children.
Isn't that enough?
Isn't that enough? I know.
That's an excuse.
But when we get into that, you don't want to have that argument with me. Because
you've both given each other.
I think when it comes to that, most especially to a caring man, a loving man, a real husband, I think the place of who carries the baby, who gives birth to the baby, and whatsoever lies in between, a man pays a very heavy price. Because there's nothing as painful as loving a woman and not knowing what they're going through. Most especially when they are carrying your own child. And she's telling you, I have this pain, but she can't even explain it. And you can't, or you're not in a position. I usually use the term, you're carrying the child or the baby in your head.
But you represent a few men. They are not...
I try to qualify my statement.
Yes.
I try to qualify because whether it's one man or two, we exist.
Yes.
There are some men. To
that
me, there is nothing that depresses me, stresses me like when my wife is pregnant. I do not, okay, I love it when she is, but there is nothing so hard for me like that period. I think those 9 months, on top of being Kasaji and Katono, I lose even more. You know, I really lose more. So I dread that period. So anyway, besides the point. So my thing is, who told you that you should only be at the receiving end?
Yeah.
Maybe even if you were stay home, muchala.
Yeah.
You can. Wakili rumu. Surprising Mugambe. This is 50,000 for fuel. Agambe, I have a full tank. Well, no.
You will take it.
This 50,000 means everything to me. Take a motoka.
A caring person will always find
You
a
will
way.
never know what that does to us. I think I've received money from my wife where she's like, I put this man aside for you. Just spend it. You don't know what that does to me. Okay? And the thing here is, it's not about how much I can afford. It's about the spirit behind it. That you've thought about me.
Yeah.
Thought about me, and you did this. So there's so many men out there who think it's practically impossible that conversation Mami Sabiti jireke. Ne gwentudde naye wana akimanyi.
Nothing.
Ne waba n'akakadde mu nsawo nga twagala omunnyo gwa 2 mu nju aŋŋamba mpe 2 ngula omunnyo. Kati bwe mba nsigazaamu 10,000 ne luggwawo wakiri ngenda neewula oba nengenda ku mobile money ne neewulayo emitwalo 2 ngula omunnyo naye ng'alina obukadde 3 mu nsawo ye. There are families which are like that.
And that
and
kills.
You may want to qualify it okyogerere ng'omukazi ogambe byonna kisiigesiige, but it is wrong.
Especially if you're dealing with a caring man, a man who takes care of his home.
Omusajja mu nju, musajjawo n'abaana babo. Nga ye wakuyita mwami mukyala wange, nawe muyite mwami wo. So the thing is, it's about I'm giving and I'm receiving and she's giving and I'm giving. So that's why we personalize it, because then you belong to me, I belong to you, and I do not know otherwise. So the kind of mentality that has been built up in you of I'm supposed to be given.
Yeah.
And not to the extent. Emotoka ebasikako ku kkubo.
Ngatudde ne sente ze.
Azina musawo.
Nga sente ze.
Natafunamu nakusindika. emmoloka esise n'okusindika tokusobola
n'ensawo yo omuli akakadde
kati gwe musajja wattu osigazaamu emitwalo 3
bw'okuba bakuweereze mobile money
nga tonnaba kukuba n'osooka n'ofuna abasindika n'ojjako ogumu ne musindika emmoloka ne mujjuzza ebbali n'ofuna owa booda n'omuwa ogumu oluusi n'agenda n'atadda naye ng'olina ekitereke mu motoka kitudde bwekyo onswaza n'okulwaga onswaza n'okunswaza emotoka ekusikako eti
ng'omumwa gutadde mu
onswaza n'okunswaza emotoka ekusikirako
ekendabirwamuzidde waggulu
n'atuyanira omu
nekapu n'amugwako naye nga takutte mu nsawo ye
twalize muli
twalize muli mabi nabo balina ensonga zaabwe
sizimanyi
bayinza okuba balina ensonga zaabwe
sizimanyi kuba emmotoka ebe tusiseeko fembi tuli ku kkubo tusooke tugijje ku kkubo olyoka ombulira ensonga zo at least olina ekitereke olina ekitereke kyomu mmotoka tesobola nakusandeberwamu
ekitereke kisongodde omumwa kiyomba
anti sire queen buli ayitawo amulaba nga atuyaniya mmotoka ate mmotoka yasise aleese ne traffic jam ne mukisindikiramu nga kitudde ekitereke kyammwe ne mukizebba
naye nga ekitereke kibamba ky'abaana bo kiremedde sente
kirina obukadde 2 mu nsawo
naye wakyali ategekamu pate or something naye nga tazikuwadde kuteeka mu mafuta abasajja balina ennaku
tulabye
abasajja balina ennaku but there are so many of them that feel seen and heard right now. They feel like I didn't know. Yeah, but if you're just joining us, we're talking about the things that women do to sabotage their marriages and their relationships. And around that, we were talking about the lack of reciprocation. Like for you, you just want to be given, you want to be a taker, and you're just not willing to give, to chip in, to play your role, or even to go beyond, above and beyond what you would normally go. I believe it's not a good thing. It tears down a marriage, it tears down a relationship. So make sure that you take inventory and know what is happening in your life. And there's this thing of keeping scores. It's more like you're keeping all the wrong things that someone has done to remind them at an opportune moment. I think women play that card a lot. Yeah, when someone rebukes them about something and then they pull something from the back and they're like, but you also did this and then you also did this, and then now it becomes a game of reminding each other what everyone has done, which is not something that really builds. It's something that brings tension. It's something that brings contention and being on tenterhooks. It's like you're on eggshells all the time. You don't know what's going to be thrown at you. I also believe that is not a building trait. That is a trait that really pulls down, especially from women. I know so many men, and when a man plays dirty, they really play dirty. I know there are men who do that, but I think on the side of women, we cannot leave it out. It is something that we still have to include as one of those traits that, and they do it unknowingly, but it sabotages marriage.
I think the worst pain is on the list of the things that have happened, you've just added another issue now because it's not going to be handled. Once you pull something from the past, for us men, we are so good at that. You've given me an escape. Remember, I told you we usually hate dwelling on the details of what has just happened. That's why I want to arrive and conclude quickly. So when you give me an opportunity, it's just like you've given me an opportunity to pull something from the past. But from the past, then I make you forget this issue.
The current one.
Exactly.
So now it's going to go and resolve.
So this what happened. Let's just give an example. You caught me cheating. And while we were discussing the cheating, you reminded me about the girl I cheated with last year. And you bring that out as an issue now.
Yeah.
So
you've covered the present one.
So the present
has been
on
covered.
Hold, and we may not visit it in that conversation at all.
Not even later.
So I'm like,
yeah.
Katwogereko ekyo tukimale.
Which is a lie.
Which is a lie. Because I know I already covered my tracks concerning that issue. So I'll play the blackmail on you.
Turn the tables
on you. And you'll eventually start crying and apologizing.
Forgiveness. And the issue has not turned. And you've added more salt to injury because now she feels like she...
So you realize it's a build-up. Ekibaddewo olwaleero tukyongedde ku list y'ebyaliwo.
All in the name of keeping scores.
Keeping scores.
Not working as a team.
If you are sober as a woman, never allow to bring the past into the current conversation. If you want to handle an issue, don't allow or don't give your partner an opportunity
to drag
anything from the past. Because the moment you do, this will never be handled. And you stay in more pain. As I said, you take me one step behind, I drag you 10 steps further behind. So in other words, this will also stay pending. And then in my head, I will assume we concluded it.
That you've... And then when she's not talking, you're like, oh, so why are you not talking? Yeah, why are you not talking to me? Yeah, I hear silent treatment. But you realize that that comes from an instance of you are keeping scores. You're not facing issues as a team, but you are keeping scores of who has done worse and who is doing bad and who is doing what. It's like you just want kwera gakoe. And I don't think that trait builds a marriage.
It doesn't.
It breaks a marriage. After some time, one of you is going to break down. One of you is going to feel like this is not a safe environment anymore. And then when you start withdrawing, there is no amount of begging or amount of apology that the other person will ever do that will reinstate you to the former you. You will always be the broken one. You will always be the one that feels like, because there are those that have thick skin. You're keeping scores. Let's keep scores. Let's go.
If it's silent treatment, I don't care.
But guess what?
Give it to me, I'll give it to you.
The ones that are provoking and bringing the score game are the ones that are usually weak. The ones that the score game is thrown at are usually saying, "Kamfungize, let's go." And then all of a sudden, the other person has overpowered you. You have not neutralized the issues. You have not been able to resolve anything. So who is losing? You're the one that is losing the battle. But again, you're also losing the marriage and you're losing the relationship. So the thing is, if there is an issue that needs to be resolved, handle it as is. If you feel you are incapacitated to handle it, then go to a therapist or a counselor or someone that you trust that can be able to mediate. Because some people have told us, but he does not listen to anyone in this earth. He only listens to his mother, or he only listens to, find someone that person can listen to, talk about that issue, and resolve it, and do not keep scores
at all.
So when you realize that whatever it is that you're doing is actually not building, that is when you choose to say, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. And so if you are a lady and you've been doing this, remember, we're not talking about the side of the men. We will flip this conversation and make sure that we talk about their side. But on the side of the woman, doing the unexpected or unintended things that end up sabotaging your relationship or marriage, it's just a no-go zone for you. And I think on top of that, Tim, we will have to bring in the distance and the silence. When someone chooses to detach or to go silent, because that also can be something. There are people who don't know how to resolve conflicts. Every time something happens, the best they do is detach. They cannot talk about it, and most of them are women, especially if they feel like someone has covered over an issue. They are not willing to talk about it. They're not, or they are willing to talk about it, but they don't feel like they have the upper hand to even handle this situation. Most of them will choose the silent treatment. So that means you're creating an avoiding kind of situation. And how long are you going to avoid? Because certain things must be met head on.
Silence is communication. It's emotional abuse when someone gives you that silent treatment. And in my world,
that's
they
unintended.
have said a lot without saying. Very disrespectful. Okay? Because when we have an issue at hand, if you choose to engage the silent treatment tactic, what exactly are you
Getting
asking me to do? Where are you sending me? What would you want me to do? So that's why I say it is intentional communication, it's emotional abuse, it's very disrespectful. If there is an issue, engage. Engage.
And even if you're not willing to engage, then communicate.
And if you feel like their approach is wrong, if you feel like you're disrespected by their approach, and you've chosen to stay quiet, you are only telling them that I don't think I like your confrontation. I don't think I would want to talk to you while you are agitated. I don't want to talk to you when you are so insensitive. I don't want to talk to you if you're throwing insults at me. That is totally different, and it is very understandable. But dodging the bullet by giving me silent treatment,
withholding emotions,
maybe that it's very disrespectful. Because all that, in most cases, at that point, what your partner needs is clarity. They have had it from everywhere else, but not you. They have had this and they do not know how to maneuver, how to go about it. What they would want is help. The right word is they want help. They're not accusing you, they're not judging you, but they want help. And the only help that you can give them is to be actively involved in finding the solution or discussing the issue as is. That enough. That alone is enough. If I were the one, that you've showed me active participation, involvement, and willingness to understand and resolve. So to me, that's mega. To me, that's powerful. To me, that's amazing. Now, when someone decides to do that, again, don't use that as a yardstick for him being weak. Because that's how some men will just go silent. Because when they are vulnerable and when they are available and when they are willing, sometimes the women use that as a weapon to insult, attack, name call,
label and everything.
Yes, so the guy is like, I thought I was talking to someone that we might find a way forward, but I don't think this is even worth
continuing.
So they just shut up.
As a reaction.
It is a response, a very heavy response. Of as in, I don't want to be insulted, I don't want to be attacked, I don't want to be judged. I have not said that I am pleading innocent. Even if I were guilty, I deserve some respect. Handle me like the father of your children. Talk to me like you're talking to a civilized human being, an understanding one, regardless of what I have done. At least respect me. If you're to end this respectfully. And until you can get that sense, and a bit of that sense, you're not worth my time. I'm not going to give it to you.
And that is responding to an approach. Okay, so approach matters.
Approach really matters.
As well.
Approach really matters.
However you choose to resolve this issue, you must put sense into it.
And some women have said, mine is gangster. I know my man. Unless I pull out the guns, AK-47, rapid, and I snipe and I shoot and I to kill, I'll not get any response.
And they're like, I have come.
So some of them have said that. In other words, the kind of relationship has been on that kind of road for a long time, when you're understanding, you don't get anything. It's until you engage with roughness, with a bit of chiboko, nachi, that's when they say, so it depends. So marriages are different, relationships are different.
Everything is
but
different.
general, because 70 out of 100, 70%, you'll find that approach, and most especially a sensible one, will draw any man's attention, most especially a reasonable man. You will draw their attention. In most cases, we actually dread as men to handle a very sane, sober, sensible woman when there's something that has happened. Now, these are the conversations you have as men, that when my woman starts with crying, nankanyugira ebikopo n'ebicupa n'ebiki n'ebiki,
I
namba
have
awo
her.
maze.
Omulalu wange kamukwate bulungi.
Awo mba maze nga olutalo nduwangula.
Tetonatandika.
Yes, mba naluwangudde dda, because to me that is a good sign. There are some men who say that. And some are like her. When she wants us to sit down properly bulungi, namba n'okunfumbira ekyeggulo, nampa ekyokunywa na buli kimu kyonna, nanga mbadde njagala twogere ku kino. Omutima gukuba okuva gukubira ku mutwe n'okubira mu mugongo. Because I know it's trouble. So approach really matters anyway.
Yeah, it does. It does. Because
we could be laughing about this, but these are the things that happen in a home on the daily. Yeah. But approach really matters. That I would, if possible, I would want you to draw my attention the right way.
Respectfully. Politely. Yeah, because you deserve that, and everyone deserves that. Yeah, and aside from that, there is also an issue. While you were talking about, I thought about an issue where there is usually people that come into conflict for the sake of dominating. They speak too much, but they don't communicate. Because I feel that is also disrespectful.
It's true, yeah.
And it's a standalone. It's not the same as the silent treatment, because here someone is not withdrawing emotions or withholding emotions. Here they are being rapid. Yeah, they are speaking, but it's not resolving the issue, because it's not out of respect. It's not as in, it's about winning. It's about dominating. It's about
control.
It's about control. Yes, it's about me being on top.
It is also a communication.
A tactic.
Oh, well, you can call it a tactic. Mostly, you usually like calling them what does control people? Control
the narcissistic, toxic people.
Narcissistic, toxic, and it is usually like using that. I have played out the movie. I know how it should end.
Yeah.
In my mind, in my head, I know how to handle my slave. So I drive things my way. Who told you that you should be sober enough to understand more? Why should you even be? So I cover you up intentionally and close it before hearing it. We should go to the next. And this even happens in boardrooms. You know, when you have your supervisor and you've taken time as a subordinate and examined a situation, and you would want to report as is. But because there are other bosses in the room and there's this supervisor who does not want you, the moment you start, covers you up.
Shut you down,
and shuts you.
Disrespectful.
And they report it the way they would want to. Because very narcissistic,
and they usually have
controlling,
the words.
And very disrespectful. And they have played out the movie. They know how it should end. In most cases, they put you in that place for a reason. You know, sometimes you go to these places looking for jobs, and you only wonder why some people are given placement and others are not. You know, when you go to this interview and you have A, triple A,
and everything they
but
need.
You can't get the job. It's because your supervisor feels like you're a threat. Would want a C because they're easy to manipulate. And it's as simple as that. So sometimes these things happen even when we are in closed doors in marriages. That
I chose you for manipulation. We are not equals here.
Mm-hmm.
I am the dominant and you are the doormat.
Thank you.
So stay in your place. And when it becomes, when it's the woman doing that, it's worse. It's worse because you become the nakalacha, as in you're the one that is shouting, you're the one that is, you don't want to learn anything, you did not contribute to this situation, it's about winning. And that is masculinity, it's not femininity. that is masculinity, and you're just driving the conversation, and I believe the masculinity, being feminine does not mean be weak and don't talk about issues or don't resolve issues, but it means that you resolve them in an amicable way, in a respectful way, in a diligent way, and in a polite way, where you're not seeking to dominate and to win the conversation and lose the marriage. What do you, just like the Bible says that chikugasachi, to eat the good of the world and lose your soul. So chikugasachi, to dominate and come out as the winner of that conversation. And all of a sudden you have poured all the cold water on your marriage or your relationship in the same breath.
There was the other side that we handled, where whoever is in control, whoever is in the control of that relationship, it could be work, like the example I gave, it could be in a home, it's a marriage, has an end in mind. But there are also people who are just stupid. Stupid to mean they don't even know where the conversation is going. They don't even understand what the gravity, intensity, okay, and damage and potential harm that can come from an issue, but they do not want to listen or learn.
There are those who are that.
Nga just musiru. Nga obusiru because amagezi gali mu kuwulira, si mu kwogera. Mu kuwuliriza, actually the right word is kuwuliriza. Nti you listen and listen. Owulira n'owuliriza.
And you make an informed decision.
That you can listen with you and yourself. Internalize, ponder, meditate, and understand. And then you respond. That's wisdom.
Yeah, some people don't have it.
Some people don't have it. In that, they will speak over you, shout,
be so quick
and move on with the minor. Oba ekyokungulu.
And they leave the most important.
So when you're a woman and you have that weakness, and I don't know why the pairing is so ugly, that such women are paired with very understanding and intelligent men. That the guy will sit and bagamba banyomi, but will sit and keep quiet, and he will not bring that up again. He will keep quiet. And you will yap and conclude, and after concluding you walk away. Buli kimu kyonna kyonna nga asirise. Kisajja kinyomi. Kisajja kinyomi nayogedde nzeka paka bwe namaze. Naye yabadde tandaba nakwanjula nsonga n'ogibuukira. Kiraba? Yabadde tandaba nakwanjula kyayagala kwogera.
You pounced on it.
Exactly.
N'omulagako.
N'okikubakuba bw'oti.
And then you expect that agenda kuwakana naawe.
Sobola. Bobo ina kumagezi tosobola. And as I said, I don't know why, but such women are usually powered with very intelligent and understanding women, understanding men. So
naturally calm.
In most cases, asirika natekako amawulire ku TV. Nga bw'oyogera by the way.
Nakujjako remote.
Natekako natandika okulaba kigonda. Tata Simon, gwe ebintu bino bitandise, gwe wabireese, kaakati weefudde nga alaba TV. Njagala ensonga zino tuzimale. Asirika. Yabadde naba nakwanjula nsonga n'ogibuukira. You understand that? Kati gimalirize. So agikulekera yonna nga bweri n'osemba nayo.
And even if you call a meeting, he will keep quiet.
He'll keep quiet.
Or he will,
because he knows you will not be able to listen. There is nothing as bad as being, okay, there is no better word, stupid.
Yeah, a stupid person is one who refuses to learn. You keep doing the same thing over and over and over again.
But then that's what the six signs to show you're stupid, eh?
Yeah. Those ones you will give them to us some other day. We want to complete and be able to wrap up on the unintentionalities of women in sabotaging their marriages. I feel there is also another type of women that seek to change the man. You found him, as in he's brought up a certain way, he does his things a certain way, and all of a sudden you feel like your way is the best way. The way you spend you deal with finances, the way you want to dictate everything, or you want to change him to be who he is not. You take on like a project of some sort to make sure that mukanika, but you're not supposed to be too quiet, you're supposed to be this. And then you're not supposed to be that, and you're supposed to be this. And just like you said, I think it falls in the same category where such women find men who are quite quiet and laid back, very understanding. And so they want to dramatize everything. And the man is seated in his corner and he's watching and he's saying, I don't want to become whatever you want me to become. And I'm not going to budge. I am going to remain who I am. And so they end up frustrated and worked out for no good reason. And end up saying, this is not a marriage that can work.
Exactly. Kuba, who tells you that you can change me?
After how many years?
You can't.
Found you in adulthood.
I believe what you do, on yourself, can influence.
Yes, that's true. Very true.
You can be a catalyst.
It's not the talk.
Yeah, you can be a catalyst. So you provoke a reaction and a change by what you do. By dictating how I should do
things.
Only God has the power to change a human being. Only God.
This is how men deal with their finances. Even so is better than you.
You are only asking me to put my defense up.
I know.
Because then I'll have to prove to you otherwise. And you don't want to go on that road. You don't want to. Best way is, you want to see change in me, do what you're supposed to do. So, for example, if it's about finances, lead the way if you feel you have a solution. I would rather try to follow something I see or as I deem right and good, and I try to imitate it, than when someone
comparison games
or either plays a comparison or is trying to force me to become that.
Yeah,
I will not.
I think it's
so if you want to cultivate a saving lifestyle, lead the way. And so something applies even to us men. If you would want to do it, lead the way. Lead the way. Whatever change that you want to do to see in another must first happen to you. That's how you influence change.
Yeah.
That's how you send a message. That's how you influence that's how you cause or provoke the best of action.
Because I think on the other side of influencing is creating resentment. Is provoking resentment all the time with the continuous comparison, the continuous correction, the fixing, someone is like a project of some sort, like you would get a car from the dustbin and you're like, now I am going to put you right and make sure that you are fine-tuned according to what I want. I don't think that's what we look for in a partner, whether in a relationship or marriage. I think we must come whole. Yes, there are things that we need to learn, the growth that needs to happen. But just like you said, some growth is inspired and influenced other than the continuous fixing and the provoking and the comparison and the correcting. And, so you've given yourself too much work. Now you are creating resentment instead of influencing, because you cannot do the two at the same time.
And yes, a human being and a project like a car will always be different. When you service a car, it gives you good mileage.
Yeah.
As simple as that. When you fuel it, it will give exactly that. A human being
totally different.
Has a mind, has a soul.
Yeah.
So
has learned so many things.
They can respond the way they want, and they may respond otherwise, with a lot of input or with no input. They may choose to respond otherwise because they are not a project.
Yeah.
When a car is stuck and it needs a tire, it not only needs a tire to say
decide.
Where next.
It
will not ask where are we going. It will go. A human being. Even after doing everything, they will ask you, why are we going to Ginger?
Yeah. They want to know.
Because
they have a brain.
Exactly. So, is your partner. One is basically for service. Unless if you want to go and buy some of these AI dolls and okay, robots. If you want the robots, you program them as you want. To tell them sleep, they will sleep. Wake up, they wake up. But a human being
will do as they please.
You provoke them, they will feel provoked.
They snap. Yeah.
You insult them, they will feel insulted.
And they will look for a comeback in one way or another.
Yeah.
And which takes me to, you hinted on partnership. I feel like in such a scenario, whenever you compare, correct, fix, want to change someone, they resist partnership. Yeah. But when you influence, you are inviting them into a partnership.
And you know, partnerships are very interesting. In any partnership, there will always be a dominant person or the one who gives more. Whether in a relationship, whether in a business or blah, 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 there will always be someone who does more. And it's from, I know I'm doing more in as far as this is concerned, but then I don't want to be sole in decision making. I want involvement.
This is a partnership
of my partners. And involvement here does not mean you're weak. It simply means you're very strong, want to understand, realize, accept that you're not on this journey alone, but you started out this journey with someone.
That's a strength.
It's a strength. So when you involve them and have sober and intentional discussions with them, all that you're doing is to make your life better, because then it became your decision, rather than you get that?
Yeah.
Because whatever decisions that you make, the consequences at a certain point will either be good or bad. But when they are bad, we should share the bad together. Rarely do we talk about the good.
We don't.
But the bad should be shared together, because I don't want someone pointing fingers at me or someone saying, deal with it. You don't want in those ugly times, sad times, to have a partner who says, we're in this together, we'll conquer, we'll get over it, we'll be fine.
And that's the best thing.
So partnerships
Very
work that way. Even when you know you're the dominant, you're contributing 70 or 80% in as far as that relationship and partnership is concerned. Please be understanding that at a certain point, when we are hitting rock bottom, we should be in this together. But that's the way they work for that, is you involve them, even when you know you're dominant.
That's true.
Involve them.
I don't know how much.
So questions like, what do we do? Does not mean you don't have what to do or you don't know what to do.
That's true.
But you're involving them to see what they think.
And sometimes they'll come up with brilliant ideas. Show them that you acknowledge that they are brilliant ideas. And so, and even if it's a trashy idea, you find a way of putting it down without insulting them. And being polite and respectful while you're doing that.
And this usually happens to where the age difference is huge between partners. I think I've had more issues with a 45-year-old dating a 25-year-old, where the man feels like there's nothing that she can bring to the table.
Not even.
But by the time you left the 35-year-old and went for the 25-year-old, you should have understood that there's little she's bringing on the table. So she's your partner.
Treat her as such.
Figure it out. Don't use the language of
respect her. She deserves it. All right, and then let's talk about some of the things that some of the women in this current generation actually do. I think social media has become something else.
Social media.
Sometimes it has become like an affair of its own. We might as well throw into the spin the affairs, emotional affairs. Some of them are not even real affairs, but the emotional affairs that people keep having. You know, they have these people that they confide in, they tell them everything and stuff like that. They talk long hours, they do all those things. And it's only a matter of time. when your partner gets to know about it, that this is going to be demoralizing, it is going to be shattering the dreams that lie ahead. Yeah, because if it's social media, then they're thinking you're not giving as much attention to this relationship or marriage as you are giving to social media. That is different. But if you're confiding in someone and you're having an emotional affair with someone, or even a real affair, let's just put it on the table, even a real affair, it's only a matter of time
that will catch up.
That it will catch up with you, and you will lose what you have while you're trying to, we say you lose gold while you're trying to catch up with the stones. If you think the other one is the gold, then put the stone down and go for the gold.
Yeah.
If you think the one outside is the gold. But if you think what you have is the gold, then hold on to the gold and let the stones go.
Yeah. And it's wisdom for you to ask yourself the magical question. What am I doing by doing, what am I achieving by doing this? Am I piling regrets?
Yeah.
Or creating memories and celebrations?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's from the feel good of breaking the routine and having something different. As in at home, yingira, lya, webake, zukuka, tegeka abaana, batwale ku ssomero, sabbuuni yaweddewo, twasasula amazzi, n'ebirala, routine. And all of a sudden you're having someone who says, hi Anna, hi Ben.
Does not call you Mama Gundi.
Your nose
was created where in Jupiter.
And you smile like Jesus.
MG.
So bakuwanye
no gwamatu.
Nedda kaseera ako n'owulira nga wena. There is something about us men, the feel good moment, even if it's for a second, can
Kuchamula.
Not just kuchamula, katukoze sense of imperative. It's like the way God created a man is the priest, the king, okay, in him, you understand, works so well with elevation, works so well with respect, works so well with that feel good. A man, Blabi Asahel at home, he feels good when he's in control. He feels good when everyone says you're smart.
I know. There's a way he even puts his chest out.
You know, he
feels it.
It's natural. So when someone masters that game, that's why Edda bagambanga nti malaya ayangwa nnyo okutengula, because they have mastered that game. Malaya has mastered the art of making a man feel king.
That important.
Feel that important. But a malaya in a home of her own, she settles down and forgets that she's what? You understand? But even if she says, so when you use the phrase gold and stones, this is what you mean. Gold to mean I'm here with you in good and bad. Stones to mean I'm only doing this for because an act. I need something. As simple as that. So one is long term, the other is short-lived. But during
the feel good moment, you can never think about that.
The other one is short-lived. The only difference is, just like I said, just turn that malaya into your wife. And you will see that she'll also get tired.
The same, she'll be, even if she says those same things, you will not take them.
No,
the way a new person says
she will not say them.
No, even if she says them.
Kati nkubulira.
The
moment you get her into your house and she becomes your wife, tojja kumusanga ng'ayambadde kakondo n'akasikati akali waggulu, ojja musanga ng'ayonsa mwana.
Of course, that's the reality.
Kakondo will be inconveniencing. So that means she will settle down into being your wife. So you will need another one who will tell you. So for how long?
Chasing stones.
So that's why it is called stones. So what is gold? Gold is that woman who is not now trying to impress you, who is your wife, the mother of your children,
settled into your home,
who is settled to be with you. Nti newoba ng'oyikaayika endusu asobola ozisimbula, malaya tasobola. At the point of kutandika okuyiikaayika endusu n'ebirala oba tokyamugaza. Aba agamba tokyasobola kumpa sente ze njagala, so please. So you understand that. So that's why, like, that's the emphasis of the stones and the gold. That you cannot feel so good consistently. Okay?
People want that
Consistency comes in with hard work,
the honeymoon
sacrifice,
stage
understanding, and compromising, being patient. Okay? That the girl who had like a flat katami,
now has a round one.
she has a round one, and
Paper.
yeah, yes.
But how did she get there?
Exactly. And anyone you're about to get from the street will come with a flat, but eventually will end up that way. So do you need to sample the whole world for you to understand
hopping.
that? No. You just need to come to senses with yourself, to sober up. Okutamirukuka is the right word in Luganda. And understand that what I need right now is to grow up. Grow up here is different from growing old or getting old. Growing up means
growing old is
intentional. Yes, the other one, whether you like it or not, you'll grow old.
Yeah.
But when you grow up, we see responsibility settling in. We see change, and change that speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming into a phase of reality. Reality to mean that it's possible I can have an empty wallet without 5 shillings.
Yeah. And
it's
that's
possible
okay.
I can go back home and we eat enyanya, nemukene,
and we'll sleep and we'll be fine.
That's reality. And you know, the more it settles in, it gives you a lot of peace and a lot of happiness with yourself, that you do not want to, you don't have to start making those calls and convincing and lying and taking loans from everyone because you just need a crate of beer or you want to take the boys out.
Yeah.
So that's reality, and that is maturity, and that's understanding the power that comes with growing up, not getting old.
And that's intentional.
And that's very intentional.
All right. Okay. So in case you have any questions, at least you know where to put them. We are wrapping this up. I think you will have to give us your last take. But the last take for me is there are so many people that have been wounded. There are so many people that are going through depression and stress, and they've been traumatized formerly in different, either different relationships. And when they finally land into this relationship, the current relationship or the current marriage, they come with all the masks. Like, I'm not letting you in. Yeah? I'm going to give you as far as I think is worth giving you. There are people that have walked down the aisle with people that they don't really know. There's a big percentage, or if it's a pie chart, you only know 20%, but you don't know 80%. Because they are like, Abantu tebe sigika, I'm not going to tell you the whole of me. I'm not going to. So we've built walls because of disappointments, because of the heartbreaks, because of the traumas, because of the depression, and we have not put those walls down. Partnership cannot work over fence. I cannot be a partner with you. Like every time I have to jump over a fence to see you, to talk to you. I think you need to put down the fences and be able to create a partnership. And a partnership means vulnerability, that it's possible that I could be hurt, but I'm giving my whole, that if I am hurt, I will never feel frustrated that I did not give this a chance. And I think that's what a marriage is.
And I would say,
a relationship is supposed to be.
I shouldn't be a rebound.
Exactly.
If you're not yet ready to
then
get into
heal.
a relationship, first heal.
Yeah, before you get in.
Because why treat me like
with that, like a suspect?
So I'm not your rebound. I'm not a rebounder. I don't want to be.
Yeah.
Respect me enough to leave,
if
get
you're not
well,
healed.
heal, close the other chapter and begin a new one.
That's true.
If you're not ready to, be the king.
Be very cool. And no one has sent you for a man or a woman. So stay out of a relationship, stay clear, heal, and then get into a relationship. We love you. We pray over you that God will cover you in your relationships, in your marriages. There is a lot of attack that is happening on families. Stay vigilant, stay prayed up, okay? And then as you consume this information, keep checking yourself. What areas of your life do you need to put right? We are not perfect. We are putting our lives right every time. We believe God, and we pray and we cover ourselves in the blood of God every time. So we believe that you can do the same for your family, and we can win.